Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And with the days ticking down to the start of Major 1, Shotzzy's revealed his pick for the MVP of this entire season, but also his frustrations that Maven Merk were not brought back for this year of the CDL. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you are new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Really up to the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. Also, if you guys want to get involved in the Q&A video, I'm going to do in a couple of days just before the start of the Major. There's a post over on the community tab. If you reply to that one, I'll read through it and we'll answer the best of the questions, anything at all, really we'll talk about. Let's just crack straight on with things. This also from Crone. So, well, Into the Breach hashtag and the Boston Breach hash flags, they call them on the Twitter sphere here, are now live. Now, interesting it's taken this long. Obviously, on the Twitter side, I guess you'd thought it'd be kind of quick to turn this around. But, still, also, of course, the CDL camos themselves, which you would have imagined to just copy and paste and change the colors, which is what they did for every other team. They haven't made that even happen yet, I'm pretty sure, for the Boston team. So if you're a Boston fan, it's kind of unfortunate that none of this stuff is actually live yet in the game itself. But yeah, finally, these are live on Twitter when they will do or do not something at the Major here. They play FaZe in the first round. It's not going to be all that easy. This also to mention from Crownsy notices, I believe, I'm guessing in a league play game, that well, Gravity, John, and Fellow are on the other team. This is the rumoured team of 3 that will be joining alongside Temp on the Paris Legion roster for the Major. Jimbo was meant to be here for a time instead of Fellow, I believe, and now Fellow, I think they're going to give him a go on the flex there, and then John and Temp, I guess, on the SMGs, and then Gravity is the main ER. Interesting trio. Seems like that may well be the case coming up this coming weekends. Of course, they do not have the easiest time. I believe they play either OpTic or Seattle, the loser of that series, in the very first round of losers. Certainly a challenging run for those guys. We'll see maybe how they fare with their new roster that we imagine they are going to have. Let's talk about the Elite Season 2, I guess, like Stage 2 or whatever, qualifiers in the Challenger sides. So while Doug St. Martin had a bit of a pickup team, I believe the squad on the left-hand side was Unit, Apexities, and Phenom, alongside Sensor. I believe he was on a decent team for a while, then it kind of fell through, so unfortunate to see. But yeah, these guys obviously played the number 1 seed in Scrap, Vickle, Hixie, and Mohawk, then ended up qualifying. And while Dogenko had a pretty good run, especially in the final map right here, it seems like he took this screenshot when he was down 5-4, so not really sure if he actually had the camera ready, just taking pictures to have a nice little scoreboard to show, when I'm guessing they went on to lose this map. But yeah, at this point it was 4 plants, 7 eliminations. Doug St. Martin trying to do it all for the team. And as even Methods point out, I'm putting Doug St. Martin on the payroll to teach my teammates how to plant the bomb. This guy's certainly good at that one, and he's good at winning the rounds for his team as well, sometimes or another. On occasion, at the very least. There also was kind of a little bit of drama around this, right? Just because of the whole, well, as Scrappy says right here, this is the new Toronto Ultra Academy team in the North American side. They make it through and qualify without too many issues. But of course, well, Neptune and Co actually have a new squad. So I believe it's Neptune, Diamond Khan, Spart, and Proloot, I think, is the team of 4 that you would have thought would easily be good enough to qualify here. They actually fall short to Kaiju and Co. And yeah, Neptune's got a foray into the Challenger side. Hasn't really worked out all that well so far. So I guess we'll see how that one progresses. But these guys, I believe, make it all the way through to qualify. This also, as Kevin points out, Fame MK2 right here. Because, Jimbo, y'all don't deserve this. Basically saying that, I guess Jimbo, probably as he describes, someone's pretty salty about that one, right? Because Jimbo obviously in a tough spot, having seemingly got the opportunity for Paris, then it falls through. Now he's back in Challengers, not qualifying for the Elite. Tough few days for him. But, no, maybe if Paris doesn't work out, Jimbo will get another shot there. I guess we'll see how that one goes. These are the teams that qualify then, so I guess the usual suspects up here at the top. And yeah, I guess some surprises on the lower half of this bracket. Just we'll give it a few moments. Don't want to read through absolutely everyone, but just say, you guys know how this works. Of course, this is the OpTic Nation team, or Texas Nation, whatever they're calling themselves right now. There was some rumors that one of these guys might be picked up at some point to the Paris side, but maybe they don't want to actually go down that route, right? Maybe there's better opportunities that could come alive. In the European side, it's Real, Lucky, Metals, and Journey. Classic stuff. Harry, Beans, Vortex, and Fuse as well, the Ultra Academy. So good to see there are some academies coming into play here, because it wasn't all that long ago that you would see a lot of organizations getting involved in the Challenger scene, as you kind of still do with UIU, for example, up here in the North American sides. But yeah, most of these teams are on site. It's pretty tough to see the way the Challenger scene has gone the last few years. But yeah, notable teams that failed to qualify: Spart, Neptune, Proloot, and DiamondCon. Yeez and Co failed to qualify as well, and even the Team War Squad of Paul X and the boys, they couldn't quite make it in. To me, it makes things very exciting indeed for this Pro-Am Classic, which is coming up. I've talked about this a few times recently. May 5th through the 8th in the mid-season, there's a Pro-Am Classic. I'm pretty sure the way it works is all the 12 pro teams, plus the best amateur team from each region. So I guess there'll be some sort of qualifier, or however exactly they do it, from each region. The regions being, of course, North America, Europe, the APAC region, and also Latin America. The best team from each region flies out to a LAN, location to be determined, plays against the 12 pro teams. That's going to be very exciting, because honestly, getting that spot as the top amateur team from every region, that's going to be very hotly contested, and probably will continue to change over time. It's only really the European region that's had a consistent front-running 2 teams in the Spanish guys, and also the now Ultra European Academy Academy, but does make things very exciting from my perspective. Let's talk about the OpTic guys then, and what Shotzzy has had to say on his stream at the moment. Scump says another day to improve. Always good motivation from Scump and iLLeY very often as well on the timeline. And well, Shotzzy had a few words to say. So definitely a couple of days ago, they were talking, they did a CDL video, right? And they kind of came up with, okay, pros are going to answer some tough questions. Some of them were tough, some of them certainly were not. Like when you ask a team, like who's going to win champs, they're obviously just going to say their own team, right? Most of the time, even though Shotzzy did have a pretty good answer, right, when he said the Paris Legion. But he also had some words to say on who he thinks is going to be the MVP of the season. This is a very interesting discussion, right? Because of course last year it was Simp. The year before that on Modern Warfare, I guess it was actually Shotzzy, right? Won the World Championship. So yeah, okay, the 2 years so far, we've had Shotzzy, we've had Simp as the MVPs. This season you'd imagine that someone would be in a similar boat once again. But yeah, they do ask the pros who they think is going to be MVP. I think a lot of people right now early on would probably say a guy like Cellium is probably the most likely, right? Given the fact that FaZe still seem the most likely to win the most events this season. But other players certainly had a differing of opinion. And Shotzzy actually said iLLeY is his pick to win MVP this year. That's well, rather an interesting take, given iLLeY's statistical performance the last couple of years. So I guess Shotzzy really sees something in iLLeY this year that others may not well have predicted. But I'll also share a clip from his stream when he's kind of reviewing a great old Black Ops 4 moment with Luminosity Gaming and 100 Thieves. And just kind of frustrated really that Maven and Merk haven't been brought back this year, given their, well, great command of casting in Call of Duty.
Way too early prediction, MVP, Dave Patty.
I'm probably going to go with Cellium.
MVP is going to go to iLLeY.
Early prediction, MVP, probably myself.
I'll throw a curveball out there. I'll say Envoy.
If it's not myself, which I would normally choose myself, I'm going to have to pick Drazah.
Priestahh, if it's not my team, maybe like a Shotzzy.
I'd say I need to play the game a little bit more and play these teams more to kind of gauge who's the best right now. But later down the season, I'm sure I'll have a good idea.
Bro, listen. Watch. Bro, hear their small talk, bro. Hear their small talk, listen. Wait, who said bam? Was it, that was me? That was
Maven, yeah.
Wait, bro, but like, dude, the way they like set that up, dude, like, Merk said slack slam, and then you just hear bam.
Slack slam, bam, and then.
Wait, that's hard, bro. Let me hear that again.
Can you imagine if you would play that game, you would have had moments like that.
Dude, that's hard, bro. Dude, that's hard, bro. Wait, dude, we need Maven and Merk, bro. Where they at? Bro, where'd they go? Where'd Maven and Merk go, bro?
So firstly, I'll just touch on the Maven stuff real quick because we really haven't heard anything since, well, this tweet really from Maven when he said on the 18th of January, not sure if I'll be involved this year. We did wonder when the league kind of kicked off, like would they wait a little bit, like see what happens and then get these guys involved. But yeah, it doesn't seem like it is, right? And it's really, well, it's really frustrating. Like Bryson Tunner coming in as cast, I think that's a fantastic job well done from those guys. But yeah, it is really frustrating, right? Maven and Merk, staples of the Call of Duty scene for so many years, and they're out of there. Really unclear still why, apart from this comment really from Maven, I fought battles internally. Maybe that's hurting me now, but I mean, still, this year does not seem like they're going to be here at all. I guess they're just live streaming and stuff like that. And yeah, just a real shame, right, from the Activision side. They couldn't work this out for whatever reason. Still very unclear why that's the case. The community still wants them back in business. Like, well, and Shotzzy was obviously saying, look, these guys are so good and had so many great moments over the years that it's a real shame they're not here anymore, right? Especially in a LAN environment in front of a crowd where they really do thrive in that environment, right? So yeah, very frustrating to see as a Call of Duty fan. But yeah, and Shotzzy understands that as well. Maybe next season they'll come back. I don't really know if they can figure things out behind the scenes. But yeah, still very frustrating, no doubt. This then to discuss the iLLeY side of what he had to say, because that was an interesting take that iLLeY's going to be MVP. Like if he had to choose someone from his team, you'd have thought maybe a guy like Dashy. But I honestly thought when iLLeY joined the Dallas Empire, well, he was still on the Dallas Empire in 4 versus 4, going into Cold War, he would be a pretty spectacular player last year. And in fairness, they got decent results. But statistically, iLLeY's never really been that guy. And in fairness, he's playing on a team with Crim6 in a Crim6ian type setup, right? But we see this on New York as well, where the team often gets outslayed. Still, well, can sometimes win games, even though at the moment New York are just getting heavily outslayed and still losing every game anyway. But these release stats last year are 70 overall, 0.96 in our points, 0.85 in S&D, which is remarkably, well, surprisingly low, right? Given the fact that iLLeY, well, Search and Destroy star for many years. Still at last year, 2018-19 record, made a grand final last year, made a lot of top threes, right? I mean, Dallas Empire pretty clearly, I guess, the third best team in the game last year after FaZe and Ultra. So, well, well, all things considered, not a bad year for iLLeY, but statistically not quite there. Now, of course, we know he was having a lot of impact on the map with stats even like this. So if all of a sudden his stats start to get somewhat better, which they have done the last 3 or so games he's played here in the league, then all of a sudden OpTic and iLLeY himself become very scary indeed. But it would be a surprise, right? Even if OpTic are the dominant force this season and win champs and all these other events, that it would be iLLeY who's actually the one getting MVP, just generally on what he does for the team. Maybe Shotzzy understands something we don't about the way the team is working internally and what he's seen in scrims behind the scenes that makes him think that iLLeY's very likely indeed to pop some crazy numbers this year and even be the MVP of the entire season. Because these were the stats last season, iLLeY with a 0.96 in hardpoints. The stats right here, of course, echoing very nicely what we just saw in Lyman's cards. But well, so far this season it has been something of a different story. The first few games were pretty rough, really, to be honest, as with the entire team in general. But since then, iLLeY's had a great few series in a row. Not necessarily in Search and Destroy quite as yet. He has a 1.04 in Search, but in hardpoints he has a 1.09. In Control right now he has a 0.85, with actually quite significantly lower kills per 10 minutes than the rest of the team. So if he can get his Control sorted out, and in fairness, they're still pretty good at Control. They're actually 5-1 despite these stats from iLLeY, because the rest of the guys have been going off on the main stage. But yeah, Shotzzy reckons that if anyone on his team is going to get it, it may well be iLLeY, which is that, well, certainly the stats so far this season compared to last year see a similar trend, right? Given that the impact that iLLeY has on the map, that I think is the thing with iLLeY. Like, if he's dropping a 1.1 in a series, like, it's going to be so hard for OpTic to lose that, right? Because Dashy and Scump and Shotzzy, you'd expect them to slay it and do pretty consistently. And if iLLeY's the guy still a positive, like, then they're really difficult to stop. We saw that with Dallas last year as well. If iLLeY has a cracking series or a cracking map, you're barely ever going to lose that if you're OpTic. And Shotzzy, I guess, sees maybe an iLLeY this year, and even he said, well, when they were 0-2, that he feels like they're still the best team in the game, even when they were 0-2. Maybe part of that is because he knows that what iLLeY's capable of and the way he's been performing right now behind the scenes. Just to finish off with some nice analysis here from Money Hill Stats, Stage 1 qualifiers hardpoint summary. Very interesting actually just to see, because, well, Bacage, despite all the pros not liking it apparently, like, it's actually the most played hardpoint map quite significantly, with Tuscan behind it at 15, then Gavatu, then Berlin down at only 9 and 10 times played so far. And well, number of hills is pretty insane. Like, there's been 52 P1 Bacages already this year, and this is like the number of well, time collected per hardpoint, like percentage of time collected, which is well, very flat across Bacage, as you might well expect. Interesting, really, a lot of these maps don't have a very clear money hill at all. P4 Tuscan may be the best example across the board, and also kind of P1 Berlin is rather easy to hold down, at least on the second and third rotations if it comes to them. But always nice, I think, to see some analysis like this. But very much intrigued to your thoughts and all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit a like button, tell us your YouTube gods this is a good video, others like you should see it as well, and help grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you much as always, take care, and I will see you next time.